Hello again. In this tutorial we're going to learn more about image search and also loops, file commands, variables and arrays. Okay, we're going to use the random.org website to generate a list of random integers. This is just for educational purposes. In the next tutorial we'll learn how to create the same list by creating a function inside PMC. Okay, so first off we want to uncheck these three check boxes here, and we're going to use image search. The last tutorial we learned how to repeat an image search using the repeat until that creates an until statement, but we can do it if you want to add more commands inside the loop. You can create your own until loop or a while loop. So let's do it with a while loop today. Okay, first let's create let's take a screenshot. You can get more precise screenshots by checking the press enter to capture option here. You can also set the line width. So let's see. Okay, now you have to press enter to confirm, and you can use control and arrows and shift and arrows to fine-tune the box. Okay, we want to click at the center, so you check adjust coordinates the center of the image. This option works better when coordinates are set to window, so we're going to change it here, so the coordinates that are found will be relative to the active window and not the whole screen. Alright. Okay, now you see that it added an if statement here. Here in the variable section you see where the found coordinates will be stored at these two variables. You can change them too. Okay, so here we have an if statement for if the image is found, and if the image is found we want to click at those coordinates, so we'll put them here as variables. X variables must be enclosed in percent signs. By, and then click. Let's make a test. Okay, I click it. Now we want to check three of them, so let's make a while loop for this. Going to loop, select while. While works with expressions. You can learn more about expressions in the help file. What you need to know here is that image search sets a variable named error level to determine if the image was found or not. If the image was found, error level set to 0, and if it was not found, that there was a problem, set to 1 or 2. So we want to check if error level is set to 0. This will create a loop that will keep on until error level is different than 0. But other commands can also set error level, so we want to make sure it starts at 0, so that the first iteration of while will be true. Let's add a message box here to know that it worked. and just add a small pause here to make things run smoothly. Okay, that worked fine. Now for the next step, let's create a new macro tab. What we want to do now is make sure the last option here is checked. There are a couple of ways you can do that, but we don't want to do a point and click there because the position may vary as the page scrolls. So what we're going to do is search for the image and click where it's found and increment the position of the search area every time the image is found. Let's start by adding the ImageSearch command. We're going to start region a little lower. This is good enough. And making a screenshot of the unchecked button here. Again, adjust coordinates to the center and set coordinates to window. Now the key here to increment the region will be to use a variable here at the start Y position. So let's create a variable. Let's name it start Y and set it to 540, and we're going to use the same variable here, start Y. Now if the image is found, we want to click there. Okay, same thing, move and click, and found X and found Y. Let's make a test. Okay, it clicks at the first found image, but now we want it to click at the second found image and so on. So let's put this part inside the loop. Select the commands you want inside the loop. Go here and we're going to create an infinite loop. Okay. Now what we're going to do, if the image is found, we're going to increment the variable start Y. We're actually going to set it to the position of found Y. I'm not going to actually increment it. You can increment it by selecting this operator plus equal and put in any value here, and it will be, the result will be the value of the variable plus the value here. But what we're actually going to do is set it to the position of the Y axis when the image is found. And if the image was not found, we want to go out of the loop. For that, first we add an else statement, and inside the else statement we put a break. This will break out of the loop. So again, we set a starting variable for the y-axis of the search area. If the image is found, it clicks there and sets the y start y variable to the position found, to the y position found of the image, and if the image is not found, it breaks out of the loop. Let's put another message box here to test. Let's see what happens. Okay, so every time I execute this macro, it checks all radio buttons until it's no longer found. Okay, now we want to click at this button to run the function. So let's create another macro tab, and this one will start those two macros. Let's put the small pause here too to avoid errors. And use the Gosub command to reach both macros. Okay, you can rename the macros if you want. Just have to go here and add it and rename as you want. Just remember to update your Gosubs. And finally, we want to click on this button here. Left click, normal. Okay, you can test them now. Clicking out of the button, so we forgot to adjust it to window and just coordinates the center of the image. See if we did anything wrong here. Oh, right, it's not a go-to here, it's a Gosub, so it can return and continue here. Okay, now we're good to go. All right. Now, to continue our operation, we want to copy what we have here, but it's hard to tell where exactly the information will be. So we just copy everything. Let's give it some time for the page to load, 3 seconds, and send Ctrl A and Ctrl C. Select everything and copy. Now let's use a message box to display the contents of the clipboard. See again. Okay, now what we're going to do is save this text to a text file, just so we learn a little more about functions here. Okay, let's go to the run command window and select file append. The text will be what's in the clipboard variable. File name, let's select the folder here, put it desktop, name it random.txt. File append will append the text to the end of the file. So if you wanted to create a new file, you need to delete it first. So let's duplicate this command and copy this information chain, add a file delete here to make sure the file does not exist when file append is executed. Since we have something on the clipboard already, let's test this command. Okay, here we have it. Oh, right, well, it did work. It's what I had in the clipboard at the moment. Now, after we save the contents of the file, we want to read it line by line and determine where our numbers are. So what we'll do next is add a file loop read command. The file will be this one, and inside a file read loop command you can access the contents of the line in the special variable. If you right click anywhere in a command window or an empty area, you can get shortcuts to help and built-in variables. If you go here to loop, you find a loop file read a loop read line. Here it is. This is what we want. So let's see line by line, testing everything. See here, default settings, and let's go. This is the first line of the text file, second line, so on. See here, we start to have our numbers. Okay. So how do we know when we have the numbers? For this example, I'm going to use a function named regex match. See here, regex match uses regular expressions Regular expressions are a little complex if you're not used to it, but you can learn about it in many tutorials on the internet. We're going to check variable result. Let's name the variable here result, and this will be what we're checking: a loop with line and regex needle that will check if it starts with a number. Let's give it a try. File still has those contents, so let's just run those commands here to test. Okay, so we see here that when the line starts with a number, the result from the function is 1. So that's why we know, that's how we know when we have to copy the contents. So let's add an if statement here. We'll compare the variables. The variable name is result, and if the result is equal to 1, we're going to show the message box. See? Very nice, yeah? Okay. Next, we want to save those lines into a variable. First, let's create this variable and make it blank to start. Run numbers here to make sure it starts blank. And here we're going to use the concatenate operator. Run numbers, and it will add what's in a loop with line plus space. This is the built-in variable for space. And now let's see what it shows us. Numbers. So this is all our random numbers. Now what we want to do next is parse that list and add each item to an array. So they are separated by space. So let's create another loop. Now it's a parse loop. The input variable is rand numbers. The delimiter is a space. Again, the space variable. In the parse loop, the variable a loop field we have the contents of each iteration. So let's see here, just those 17 is see here. Now I parse the numbers by space and it's showing them one by one. Okay, so here is where we'll build the array. First let's create an array, an empty array. Will be num array. To create arrays, we need to check this option here, to use expressions. You can get some tips here, and this link takes you to the AutoHotkey help on expressions, so you can learn how they work. Okay, to create an array, we can use brackets. So anything inside the brackets separated by commas will be an individual item inside that array. So let's just start it blank, and inside the Parse-Loop we'll use the push method to insert the a loop field content inside our array. So we check it here in functions, the array object. Our array object is named num array. The function is push. It appends a value to the end of the array, and the value is a loop field. In expressions, you don't enclose variables in %. Also, strings are enclosed in quotes. Let's confirm it here. And now, to show us that this function works, we'll use a for loop that will go step by step through each item of the array. The variables here, you can change the names here to whatever you want. They will have the contents of the key for the array and the value. And what we created is a linear array, so the key will be the index and the value will be the content. So let's put a message box here and show the value variable. See what happens. Now this is coming out of the for loop, so it means our array now has the contents of the random generated list. You can also display the contents of individual array items inside commands using force expression method. For this, you start the command with a %sign and a space. Now we use this syntax: the name of the array and the index inside brackets. Let's say we want the 10th item. Let's see. Let's run the whole macro again and see what it generates next. So it's showing us the 10th element, which is 11. Okay, hope this could give you an idea of how to work with variables, arrays, and loops. And in the next tutorial, we'll go a little deeper into those concepts and also learn how to create user-defined functions. That's it. Thank you for watching.